Well, the arguments are still going about that match. It deteriorated a little bit at the end. A good first half, a win for England. That makes most of the panel right. And Paddy Creran very disappointed. Paddy, what about it?
I'm not as disappointed as all that much. We lost 1-0, but I thought we played magnificently. We gave a bit of stick to Derek Johnson the other night. I thought he had a magnificent game alongside Jim Holt.
What's this week, Fred? I thought you were an Englishman.
Magnificent.
Yeah. What other performances stood out for Scotland?
David Hay.
Yeah.
Billy Bremner.
Works hard.
But the greatest performance in the world today was from the goalkeeper.
Yes.
England goalkeeper. What a performance. 100 out of 100 he gets.
He made two brilliant saves, and his all-round confidence was absolutely perfect.
But this what makes the game the most fantastic game in the world, football. Everyone was saying that England are going to do this, that and the other thing in next year, and suddenly we come down to square one again. I felt the game was won and lost really from Scotland's point of view. The first couple of minutes when Peter Lorman really should have blasted that one in the...
I think
England's attitude was much better the second half.
I think that's the second time probably the likes of us have come on television and said about a certain team that they've got no chance of winning. And I think they get the needle with us probably more than anything else. And it raises their game.
You're always going to give Scotland a chance of winning at Wembley. They're playing a home match. There's 90% Scotland supporters there. They're playing a home match. If they can't be lifted for this game, they're never going to be lifted for a game. This is what the Hobart and Chatlash Champs about this
really
game.
and truly, Jack. I mean, they never looked like. I mean, it was a great shot from Dalglish and a good shot from Lorimer early on, but outside that, they never really looked like creating anything.
Did England look like scoring? No, Martin Peters, nobody saw him. Nobody saw him when he gets one touch.
If you didn't see him in the game, let's have a look at him now. Scoring that goal, because the match was decided on one goal scored by Martin Peters. A player they call the Ghost. He comes in from nowhere and gets the kind of devastating goals. It was a dead ball movement, yet another goal scored when the game is being restarted. You can see Chivers comes on the dummy run there, which really made it, and leaving Peters all that space. I think we can look at it once more, really, in slow motion and see the run of Martin Peters, taking Jim Holton with him, which makes the space. There he is. You can see the tussle going on. There was a push, in fact, by a forward, but he's determined to take Holton away, maybe get the ball himself, and there's the gap. The tall players up front are marked, but Peters has stolen in there from midfield, and from then on, he shouldn't really miss from that.
I don't think Jim Holton was too close with the right back in that situation, but I think he let him run a bit free there.
Well, I don't think
Martin Peters has scored goals in this position so many times, it's untrue.
I think that was probably England's best part of the game today. It was the set pieces, and you saw the first half where Alan Ball clipped one to the near post and Martin Chivers got a touch to it again. That was a hell of a good save from Alistair Hunter, who actually played very, very well indeed today.
Yes, he did.
Paddy's always on about Scottish goalkeepers. Well, we produced one this afternoon.
Yeah. I think if I was anybody from Scotland at the game, I'd be very proud of the Scottish performance.
We've been talking about goalkeepers. Peter Shilton saved that one save from the volley. Sometimes in television, of course, you get the camera angle right, and we were right behind. Our view was the same as the camera's view, right behind that volley. And it really was a super volley from Kenny Dalglish from this corner. A really exciting volley that looked as if it was going in all the way. On the edge of the box, he didn't have much time to get himself in position. And look at that save.
Actually, when you looked at that, you know, Colin Steen was offside.
I know, but even at that, he's not.
He's in a definite position where and Peterson still got the ball.
We'll look now and see whether Colin Steen was offside, but I don't think it really matters because this was a lovely bit of football.
Well, it makes it matter if it goes in the back of the net.
Shot and a save.
Do you think
I think they've got two outstanding skills, one after the other. But he didn't ought to show.
But the ball went over his head and he still got to it.
It's the goalkeeper's wrong hand as well. I think that's the main thing.
Brilliant save.
And there he is in that position. Number 16. Really looking in an offside.
We were talking about this before the match, and Malcolm made an outstanding point. Teams that whoever win and lose games always have a great goalkeeper. Even Jock Steen says it all starts from the goal. And Malcolm's and I have been having a running battle this afternoon. I think that Pat's the best goalkeeper in the world, but Malcolm's so set on Peter Shilton.
Well, I think that he's now found his feet as an England goalkeeper. You know, he's a terribly nervous guy, you know, and he was terribly tense in England games early on. But now he's had a few games that I think he's playing just as if he's playing his own club side, and I think that he will be a main asset to England in Munich.
It's interesting in the development international like that. They have to get over those early nerves, and he was very nearly lost it in round one, didn't he?
Rodney Marsh was telling me today, he was saying that Peter Shilton in the dressing room in the England match, you know, they played at Wembley, he was a bundle of nerves, you know, he was just like, he was really nervous, and the players noticed how nervous he was.
And of course the great problem really is Malcolm, he's taken over from the master Gordon Banks.
Got to apologise to Johnson, he's a much better player.
That's very nice. He did have a great game today, the two of them.
Well, Scotland really, it's all
the
credit to
whole
Scotland.
Scotland performance was way lifted above what they produced on Wednesday.
What about Martin Chivers' performance? Martin Chivers,
I wasn't impressed with the front three.
But the front three never got a kick. They were marked out of the game.
Never
by Hay, Holton and Johnson. They done a great job for Scotland.
They did bring up one great save
defenders, didn't they?
From Alistair Hunter. There it is now. This Chivers, you see, just 2 runs in the course of the game created danger. The first one he got to the ball and headed it there.
Volley as well in the second half.
There he is again on that near post run, jumping beautifully there, gliding the ball on, and a fine save from Alistair.
That must have stuck in Jim Holton's mind, you know, when he was challenging for that last situation when Peter scored.
See, he's inexperienced, Malcolm. He's not all
worried. He was so worried about Chivers getting to the near post in front of him.
I think it also, Malcolm, I think the tactics of the Scottish was right today. Malcolm said there's going to be no goals before the match. He wasn't far out there. They had to choke the whole midfield up, and they had to actually subdue the 3 C's, Chivers, Clark and Shannon, you see. And all credit really to the centre half and the left half. They did a magnificent job. And little Danny McGrain, who we criticised so severely, he had a splendid game.
Malcolm, England's performance, you were scathing at half-time, they didn't use the width. I want to ask you 2 things. Players that sort of occurred to me maybe have been below their best. Emlyn Hughes, who doesn't play the sort of forceful game for England he does for Liverpool, and Colin Bell and Martin Peters, who really were players who one felt were playing in inhibited fashion.
Yeah, I was terribly disappointed in Emlyn Hughes. You know, I think he's had a fantastic season for Liverpool and he's a great attacker. And Martin Peters, we never saw him in the game when he comes and scores this goal. You know, this is where football crucifies you. You know, when you're supposed to be a judge. You know, and Colin Bell made a lot of runs and made good runs in situations where the ball never came. And I think he gets a rather despondent playing for England because the ball hasn't come good enough.
I think 2 players too that could challenge for midfield roles is Tony Curry, and I think young Trevor Brooke, and to me is the most impressed. I've been impressed more with him the last couple of years than any other midfield players in the country, and I think that Alan Ball really is a little bit shady. He's very good at delivering balls from set pieces, but other than that, he doesn't seem to contribute a lot.
They didn't let the ball go forward enough, England, today. The 3 England strikers are all front runners, the runners who go through, the run and make runs, and the one ball's playing to them. England across the back today played balls, especially people like Story. Instead of knocking balls up front and letting them run for them, they're playing balls square, and then they're playing square to Bobby Moore, and then out to Wembley News.
That's going to go on forever. The chat away. Leave it for a moment, lads. We're going back. We're going to have a little break now, and then we'll come back with Dickie Davis in the studio. England and Scotland over. There's a lot of other sport going on, and Dickie Davis will tell you all about it.
It's Ralph, the goal that made all the difference. But then Martin Peters has got a habit of popping in goals of that sort, hasn't he?
Well, it was a very good goal, and obviously we're delighted when we score goals.
Yes. But it was a lot harder, I think, than a lot of people thought for England today.
Almost certainly, it was a great match for all and everyone that saw it, and for those that played in it. I think the Scottish team played extremely well. Probably one of the best performances I've seen from a Scotland team in all aspects of the game, and I think probably England were a little fortunate to win by 1 goal. I think the Scots deserved a little more than they got.
Really, you feel that highly of
I think that I thought so highly of their performance, and I thought all credit not only to the team but also to their manager.
Yes, because he had an awful job picking them up after
well,
the game against
I
Northern
can visualise him having had a very difficult time since he took over in February, and I'm delighted that his team plays so well, and I told him so.
I think a lot of people felt that they outgunned England a little bit in the middle of the field. Was this a worry for you?
I think they did. In the first half, most certainly Billy Bremner, who had a very good match indeed, most certainly his best match against England, generally controlled and dominated midfield. In the second half, we tried to put it right, and I think to some extent we did.
Yes. Sir Alf